Good morning, friends. Welcome to another episode of Your Business Story. I'm your host, Kristen N. Spencer, and if you don't know me, all you really need to know is that I am storytelling obsessed. So, what I want to talk to you about today is we're going to hop back into our lead magnet creation based on Alex Hormozi's I hit the microphone. $100 million offers, Alex Hormozi. How to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. And I normally don't like the word stupid, but I love the way he uses it. So let's go ahead and we're going to dive in to the magnet lead that I have been working on, which my editor says I need to turn in by Friday. So let's work on this. Let's try to do this so that I can make her happy. I told her, well, it's going to be a first draft, so, edit without fear, which she thought was hilarious. So we've got a few minutes before I'm actually going to a live event online with some offer creation specialists. I will report back to you and let you know how that goes. But for right now, we're going to do the really hard work, the thing that people keep asking me about, the actual solution creation. So if you remember, we have been doing this in steps, and the first step was identifying the dream outcome. And for my people, for the people who like to work with me and love to work with me, they have a problem. They need to be able to speak confidently about who they help and what problem they solve without feeling flustered or nervous or like they're not good enough. And so I created this Your Business Story pathway, and I have an idea. I had an idea up here, and then I went ahead and stepped into the second part of this offer creation, which is listing out all their problems. And you can go back and watch how I dealt with that because I've done it all live because that's where I'm at in my life right now. So I created the list of problems, and then last time I hopped on here with you, we worked on the list of solutions. Actually, the last time we hopped on, I think I did taking action when you're terrified, which is something that I just wanted to do for myself because I needed to learn how to schedule a live ahead of time, and I did, and it worked. But there were some moments of mistake, like my audio cut out, which was my fault. But this is how we learn. We try things. We make ourselves do things that we're uncomfortable with. And that's what I'm doing right now, live in front of you. And I encourage you, join me in being brave enough to possibly fail. Because if you're learning things, you're not really failing. But I like using the word fail. It's useful for me when I'm communicating with people because they know what I mean. So, also, I wanted to say that if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat and I will answer them in the last few minutes of our time together, my wonderful friend. So we have now the list of solutions, and this is where it feels a little tricky, is we have to, as Alex says, create your solution delivery vehicles. So I'm just going to type that. Create your solution delivery vehicles. And he says that it's the how, because he's helpful like that. He's not just going to leave you stranded. By the way, if you live in the US, you should consider buying this book. If the book is going to cost you a lot to have it shipped because it's a huge mama book, then you can get the digital copy, but I definitely recommend it. It's been amazing for me, and I'm a professional copywriter, y'all. Like, I know about sales psychology, but I wanted to learn more about offers, and my mentor recommended this, and it's just so good. It's been a blast. So I'm going to underline this because that's part of my process. I want to be able to have that stand out. I'm going to go back up and ununderline right underneath it because that's part of my personality is I need to have a well-organized document. That's just how I work as a person. So what we need to do now is create your, I missed a Y, your delivery vehicles. And as you can see, I kind of already had an idea for what I might use to to create the delivery mechanism or vehicle. So I'm going to copy and paste that down here. You can see this was my idea. So we need basically 5 questions and a 15-minute training because we have to keep it under 30 minutes. And you might be wondering, how can you possibly do that, Kristen? How can you possibly smash all of your expert knowledge into someone else in 30 minutes? And I would say, anytime you try to do that, you're going to fail. What you need to do instead is think about the situation they're in now and what they really need to hear. All copy is centered around, all good copy, I should say, is centered around understanding what the other person needs to hear. So that's what I want to focus on. So we have these fun things down here, or up here, I should say. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to copy these and paste them. And I'm going to make them, yeah. So these are solution ideas. And I want to figure out if I can fit how to do this in one of the 2 categories that I've created for myself, right? I have the 5 questions or the 15-minute training. And I'm going to assign one of these solutions to each part of that because that's how I want this to feel. And if you're wondering why I would do a 15-minute training as opposed to just doing a really pretty PDF, which I love pretty PDFs. I love making them. I love reading them. I love looking at them. But most of the business owners that I work with, they don't like to digest their information that way because they're looking at words all day, whether they're writing content, whether they're doing consulting, whether they're writing reports. They don't want more text in their lives, and I understand that. And also, when I do a video presentation, I'm leveraging what we call the parasocial relationship because the person watching the video feels like they're getting to know me and like I'm someone that they can trust, right? We're building know, like, and trust, which is true. I am someone they can trust, but how are they going to know that if they don't know me at all? So video gives me an opportunity for them to see my face, to hear my voice, and to learn more about the way I work, how I help them with their problems. It's an opportunity for me to show up and over deliver in a way that helps them trust me over time. So, and then the 5 questions is I need them to be thinking through these processes on their own. Because if I just tell them, hey, this is what you should do, that's me telling them. If they go through and answer questions, they are creating their own inner monologue, their own interior discourse, as editors would say. They're telling themselves these things that are true, and they are much more likely to believe that it is true if they tell it to themselves. And if you're like, Kristen, where did you learn all of this stuff about parasocial relationships and getting them to tell themselves something so they think it's true? I learned it all from Rachel Peterson, honestly. Like, I just digested her content. I know she's having a hard time right now, but I support her 100%. She saved my business. Literally, she saved my business. So I just love her. I love the things that she teaches. They're very valuable. I don't like to use the word very, but I just used it. They are valuable to me because they have changed the way I do most things. And then I went and hired my mentor, Krista Nichols, who was able to help me with the sales psychology more specifically and with the words and the formats. And she has all these amazing like worksheets with all these formulas. That's like her superpower. She understands why people buy. So Rachel plus Krista equals the person you see in front of you, plus me trying and failing a lot. I just want to be transparent about that. Okay, we're running out of time because I have a meeting at 11, like I said. So let's try to assign these different solutions they need to the 2 different vehicles that I mentioned. And you can do any kind of vehicle you feel most comfortable with, but I will say a lot of people are leaning more towards audio and video because of the text overwhelm problem that I mentioned earlier. So let's go ahead and take a look at the solution ideas. So learn how to articulate what you do in just a few minutes by answering 5 questions you already know the answer to without having to worry that you won't sound like yourself. So I'm just gonna kind of break this down. So obviously this fits into the 5 questions. So we need to give them a sense of their own voice. We need to help them understand what problem they solve and how they solve it uniquely. Is that a word? Yes. That's the key, though, is that you don't just solve a problem, you're solving a problem like no one else would, and that's why they should hire you, right? Okay, so won't worry that you won't sound like yourself. So there's going to need to be a belief piece. Oh my gosh. Piece here as well. Don't you love watching me type live? Oh my goodness, no pressure on me and my spelling abilities at all. You know what? If you cannot spell, that's okay. That's what, the spell check is for. That's what dictionaries are for. I wish we would use dictionaries more. I use mine. I have like a giant amazing one, Merriam-Webster's, the collegiate edition, but I also use Merriam-Webster's online. So the dictionary and the thesaurus, both of those should be your besties if you're writing things, okay? Because they're so helpful. So we need to give them a sense of their own voice, help them understand what problem they solve and how they solve it uniquely. And there needs to be a belief piece here as well so that they feel confident communicating their unique professional superpower. See, and I still made a mistake. It's okay. We all make mistakes. Okay, so that feels like let's see the rest, but I feel like there's enough there for 5 questions already, and then maybe this part is going to be the presentation. And can I do something like this in 15 minutes in a presentation? I don't even know, but I have to figure it out, right? Like I can't just get stuck in overwhelm. So how to explain what you do in a compelling and authentic way in just 2 minutes without others losing interest. If I just gave someone a worksheet and I was like, fill this out, do you know what would happen? They wouldn't be able to do it. I know, because I tried to train different people on writing USPs so I could stop doing it inside my own business. And so far, I haven't been able to train someone else on this. And when I talked to my mentor, she's like, I took that piece out of my 5-day, or now it's a 1-day live challenge, I think. Out of her 1-day live challenge, she's like, because people were struggling with it so hard. So I've learned that not everyone can use a word formula the way that I can and the way that my mentor can. And that's okay, because I'm not going to ask them to do that. So this is going to be definitely part of the video presentation. And I'm going to break it down with simple questions and show them how to answer in a quick, authentic way. So I've got to figure this part out of my video script and then write it. And then what I like to do is I write it. This is my process. I write it. I ignore what I wrote. I create bullet points, and then I memorize the bullet points and what I need to say for each one. Because when you're reading off of a script in a video presentation, everyone knows and they feel like you're not talking to them. And that's not what you want, because that doesn't create the parasocial relationship like just me talking to you right now, right? That's a meta moment for us. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just make this red. I want to know that it's different. And here I'm going to make this red too. I use color coding a lot, which should be no surprise if you look back at my high school and college notes where I used different color pens, different color papers. Like I have a bunch of notebooks stacked here, and I could show you, look, see, but it's other people's, it's other people's intelligent information, so I don't want to just show that on my channel, because I do like to respect the people who teach me by not just showing their literal material. But my notebooks are color coded, so that's how I'm going to do it. You should do it however you feel comfortable, but be organized, and that will decrease your overwhelm. So increase your confidence instantly so that when you share with others what your professional superpower is, they believe you and hire you on the spot. So this is definitely mindset work. And what I would want to do here is help them with some mental pep talks and have them repeat me while speaking truth to themselves about how capable they are. So that's also apparently Word wants me to do that as 2 words. And I'm not going to bother to look it up in my dictionary right now, but normally my editor brain would make me do that. So that's what I'm going to do there. Just let me write myself an example. My experience is based on what I've learned in real life, and it will always be valuable to people who are struggling and want to learn the same lessons that I have, but without so much pain. And I'm sure I will go back and edit that, but it's important just to get the first words out, even if you're like, I feel like that's wrong. You know what? It's okay. I'm giving you permission to write sentences that maybe don't make any sense, because guess what? I'm a professional writer, and sometimes that's my starting point, and it's good because you're doing the work, right? P.S. I believe in you, just because you probably need to hear it and because I want to say it. Okay. So the next one is learn to conquer the fear of rejection so that when you get in front of a potential client, you know exactly what to say to prove that you can help them. So this is also a confidence piece, but it's also a prep piece. So I'm going to write confidence, but also preparation. And I also feel like I want to say something about how you're much less likely to be rejected. If you aren't thirsty. There's definitely a more professional way to say that. But basically, like, when I get in front of someone, I don't need their work. Like, money-wise, time-wise, I'm busy, right? I don't need to work with them. And if I feel like they're not a good fit, I'm going to tell them no. I'll be like, oh, let me connect you with someone else who I think is going to be a better fit, whether it's money or personality stuff, whatever. But if you show up and you're like, I need this sale, the other person feels that pressure and they don't like it. It's not comfortable for them. So, how not to transfer your pressure onto a prospect. And I would change that. I try not to use prospect too much when I'm creating these things because not everyone uses that language and they might be confused by it. And if you've been watching me at all, you know that simple always converts better because confusion doesn't sell. All right. I feel like there's a little bit more I need to explain about this one. How not to transfer. Why it's okay that they don't choose you. You will get the right jobs at the right time based on your individual journey. Because people are not talking about this a ton, right? They're like, oh, you have to get the sale. Business is a process and you might not get the sale, and that's okay. Like, it needs to be okay or you're not going to make the sale. That's the problem. Okay, discover how to build your business story so that you can always give a fast, compelling answer to connect with the other person. Okay, so I'm going to coach them on how to ask questions based on what the other person has said. How to ask, let's do follow up questions based on what the other person has said to create a moment of unforgettable human connection. Like, yeah, if you have kids, you can talk about your kids. If you've experienced severe loss and they say something about that, you'd be like, I'm so sorry for your loss. Like, it doesn't matter how long ago it was. You should still say, I'm sorry for your loss. You don't need to say anything else. But that's just from someone who's a recovering, I'm not recovering. I'm going to be grieving forever, but just it's less intense now. It doesn't punch me in the face now. But that's something that as a grieving person, I always appreciate that. So I do it. But that's something that you could do. And you could also relate to, be like, oh, I had this person in my life that I lost and it was so hard. And I appreciate you sharing that with me, because that's a personal thing that they've shared with you. Okay, I've gone on a tangent about that, but that's okay. So I'm going to coach them how to ask follow-up questions based on what the other person has said to create an unforgettable moment of human connection. The most important part of this piece is listening. And I don't like doing all caps a lot, but that's super important. All right, I have 4 more minutes. I feel like we have one more thing. I can do this. Learn how to tell stories based on the past wins you've gotten for clients to show your audience or prospects or dream clients you can help them too, no matter where they are right now. Okay, so I'm going to teach a quick storytelling framework that is easy to use and show them using one of my client stories how simple it can be to prove you can get a win for the person you're talking to. And I also want to note, it's about following the emotional journey, not the same physical steps. Okay, that's what we want. We need to mimic the emotional journey, which I was on Melody Ann's Author Nation show, and we talked about this a lot. Head over to her page and you can type in Author Nation, and I was on there and we had a great conversation about this if you want to know more about mimicking emotional journeys in nonfiction business writing, because I wrote a whole book about this with my co-author Maria Mundo Kalaki, and it's pretty great. I think we did a good job. And also our editor thought it was great too. So also a very meta project. If you read it, you'll know what I mean. Okay, so I am going to head out. I have a meeting to go to, like I said, but you saw, like, this was not super time consuming. And the next step is actually to go through and write my presentation and get my bullet points. And as always, I'm going to let you see me doing it live, because why wouldn't I do that? All right, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. As always, you can leave any comments you have with questions and I will respond. Talk to you later, my friend. You are awesome, and make sure you follow for more if you want more free business advice.